Thank you, Madam President. I want to start by thanking my friend and colleague, the senior senator from Maryland, Senator Ben Cardin, for his remembrance of Paul Sarbanes. It's an honor to join him and others in offering a resolution in memory of Senator Paul Sarbanes. And I should say that Senator Sarbanes was very pleased that Ben Cardin succeeded him in his seat here in the United States Senate. And so I'm honored to join with him and Senator Stabenow, Senator Reid, Senator Durbin, and others in remembering somebody who was a friend, who was a mentor, and who was the excellent role model for every elected official, Senator Paul Sarbanes. He was a thoughtful and brilliant senator, a kind man, a dedicated public servant. As we've heard, he was born on Maryland's Eastern Shore to parents who emigrated from Greece. He graduated from the local public high school, Wicomico High School, and was recruited to attend Princeton on a full scholarship. He excelled in his studies as he would in his career, becoming a Rhodes Scholar and graduating from Oxford before attending Harvard Law School. He went on to a very distinguished career in public service that ended here in the United States Senate, but he never, ever forgot his humble roots in Salisbury, where his parents owned a small restaurant they called the Mayflower. In his farewell speech in the Senate, Senator Paul Sarbanes said, and I quote, "My parents came to this country as immigrants from Greece, both my mother and my father. And it was from them that I first learned about the meaning of a democratic society and the potential it offers to move up the ladder of opportunity on the basis of ability, hard work, and conviction. Their memory is still a very powerful influence in my life." As we heard from Senator Cardin, Senator Barbara Mikulski, who served here so well, was his friend and partner. And for years, she always joked that they were the Diner Democrats, a nod to the Mayflower restaurant owned by Paul Sarbanes' father, her roots in the Polish-American community in Baltimore, and their mutual commitment to fighting for working people, for the dignity of work, for the reality of the struggles so many Americans face, and the need to give every American a fair shot. Paul Sarbanes carried the values he learned from his parents on Maryland's Eastern Shore, first to the Maryland House of Delegates, then to the House of Representatives, and later here to the United States Senate. From the very start, he developed a reputation for thoughtfulness and honor. He could make simple, confident arguments based on evidence to win others to his cause, members from both parties. He was in his first term in the House of Representatives during the Watergate hearings, and he approached the proceedings on the Judiciary Committee with his signature seriousness of purpose. He considered the evidence, he listened to President Nixon's counsel's statements, and methodically addressed and responded to their arguments. Because of his own unimpeachable conduct, the chairman of the House Judiciary Committee called upon him, a new member, and asked him to introduce the first article of impeachment against President Nixon, the charge of obstruction of justice. Paul Sarbanes had the legal acumen to take on that responsibility, but he also had the integrity to be a moral voice in the Congress at that moment for the country. Writing about his dignified work during the Watergate proceedings, journalist Elizabeth Drew commented, quote, "Paul Sarbanes would not have looked at all bad at the Constitutional Convention. He might have even been one of the great ones," unquote. After 3 terms in the House, Paul Sarbanes ran for the Senate. I first met Senator Sarbanes in the 1980s when I was serving as a staff member on the Senate Foreign Relations Committee. And I know everybody who served with Paul Sarbanes will understand what a master class it was to watch him during a hearing on cross-examination. He asked thoughtful, probing questions, and before a reluctant witness realized what was happening, he had them cornered with no way out but to concede to the point that he wanted to make or look deliberately evasive. Woe be it to any witness who came before Senator Sarbanes unprepared. He was a Senate workhorse in the truest and best sense. Former Majority Leader George Mitchell once said, "Paul was effective because he didn't seek credit, which endeared him to his colleagues," unquote. He wasn't afraid to take his time to get to the bottom of an issue, build his case, and convince his colleagues. In the wake of the Enron scandal, he held 10 hearings to ensure that the congressional response would be thorough and effective, and rallied the entire Senate to support the ensuing Sarbanes-Oxley Act, the law that is credited with restoring greater investor confidence in the market and providing transparency and oversight for corporate governance. He loved the state of Maryland, and especially the Chesapeake Bay. As Senator Cardin indicated, he took on the mantle of forging and strengthening the federal partnership to clean up his beloved Chesapeake Bay. He wanted everybody to have a fair deal and worked to improve access to affordable housing and protect consumers from his seat on the Banking Committee. He believed in the United States as a force for good in the world and supported foreign assistance, treaties to return control of the Panama Canal to Panama, and strongly supported the legislation to impose sanctions on the then apartheid regime of South Africa. He opposed senseless and unnecessary wars. I came to the House of Representatives in 2003 along with my friend and colleague from Baltimore, Congressman Dutch Ruppersberger. Senator Sarbanes was then the leader of our delegation. He welcomed us kindly, but as captain of Team Maryland, he characteristically was eager to allow all members, however new they were to the delegation, to play an important role. Not surprisingly, Senator Sarbanes was a favorite son of the Greek-American community. He was a member of the Greek Orthodox Cathedral of the Annunciation in Baltimore and held the highest lay office in the church. And we shared strong bonds in the Greek-American community because, like Paul's parents, my wife, Catherine's mother's family emigrated from Greece. As a strong believer in promoting democratic values at home and abroad, Senator Sarbanes was proud of those Greek roots and spoke often of democracy's roots with the ancient Greeks. He used to speak to students about the importance of public service, telling them that in ancient Athens, people who lived only a private life without view of the public good were failing to live fully. Indeed, the power of democracy and its promise of opportunity was the driving force behind his governing philosophy: to open the doors to others, to keep your promises, and to achieve based on your merit, not on your connections, money, or power. As extraordinary a public servant as he was, Paul Sarbanes was, above all, a family man. He was devoted to his wife, Christine, whom he met at Oxford. Recalling their first encounter, Paul said, quote, "She came to a meeting of the American Association I headed. I forgot what was on the agenda. All I remember of that meeting was that is where I met Christine," unquote. She was brilliant, kind, an educator in Latin, Greek, French, and the classics, who matched Senator Sarbanes' intelligence and shared his love of service. They used to knock on doors together during his political campaigns, and she was a sounding board throughout his career. They raised 3 children, including our friend John Sarbanes, who now serves Maryland so well in the House of Representatives. and he was enormously proud of them and his 7 grandchildren. I also extend my condolences today to Senator Sarbanes' former staff. His legacy goes well beyond the laws he wrote to the way he worked, that he shared with them. Do your homework, understand the details, act with integrity, hold firm to your values. It is an example for all of us to follow. Mr. President, Senator Sarbanes was not a flashy presence. In fact, political opponents once tried to belittle him with the name, quote, the stealth senator, unquote. But as he joked, stealth is one of the most important weapons in our military arsenal. If you let somebody else take the credit, you can get the result. That was Paul Sarbanes. Enormous accomplishments, never taking the credit. His quiet confidence left an impression on all who served with him. We have lost a great senator. America has lost a great senator, and many of us have lost a very good friend. But we should be comforted in the knowledge that he achieved what we would all wish for ourselves. He served well. He made the world better for others. He treated all he knew with respect and earned their respect in return. And he leaves us with fond memories. May God grant those who loved him the strength to bear his loss, and may his memory be eternal. Thank you, Mr. President.